So to start off the chat today, write down your questions. There's some cards on the tables we'll explain too. Our most senior organizer is Bob, and our freshest newbie is Jeff. So the two of them are going to bounce back, the junior. You guys can come this way. So we'll kind of be bouncing back and forth. If you have a pressing question on that topic, then raise your hand. We're a little bit more open today for that. Yes, it does. It's just not on.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome and Happy New Year, 2020. So the great thing for me is I can't wait till the end when I can say I had 2020 hindsight. All right, I'm here for the next hour, folks, right? I am warming them up. That's it, right? So for those that know me, I am an original, actually, attendee. We sat in a room, James? We had 6 people in the basement of Ivy Wild and some folks that we need to put together the entrepreneurs in this city. And we've done that. And we've had some ups and downs. And I want a little bit of history of where this comes from, the Kauffman Foundation out of Kansas City. So Ewing Kauffman was a leader in the pharmaceutical industry. And I mean big leader in the pharmaceutical industry. But what he knew was what generated income and jobs was small business, was entrepreneurs, was startups. So he took and invested his money into the startup ecosystem of Kansas City. And if you've ever been to Kansas City and seen their ecosystem of startups, it's pretty good, right? And it looks like we have somebody that's been there. So as they started to look at that, and I was lucky enough 2 years to go to the summit, is what happened was a group of folks were sitting around coffee in the foundation talking about what to do. Thus, 1MCups was born. And they thought, how do we promote entrepreneurship 1 cup of coffee at a time? And it's not about sales. It's not about promoting your business. It's about relationships. And that's the great piece about 1MCups is this is a relationship business. And I think that's how we, James and I and a couple folks a year and a half ago said, what do we do to change the environment of this get-together? And we said, it's about building relationships. And I think those of you that have been attending for a while have seen the change up here, that it's not a business pitch. It's a story of your entrepreneur journey. So please, 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 if you're an entrepreneur, we want to hear the journey, because that's what makes us successful. So thank you. Thank you for coming, and looking forward to a great 2020.
Thank you, Bob. As Bob was talking about, the Kauffman Foundation has this ideal of supporting small businesses and entrepreneurs. And thusly, they've created a culture standard for the organization for every 1MCups to follow. It's 3 ideas in 6 words. Safe and supportive, inclusive and diverse, respectful and considerate. Those are all tenets I think we can probably live by in our life. But the Kauffman Foundation has written a paragraph that I'm going to read to you guys that says it better than I can. 1MCups offers a safe place to share ideas and admit what you don't know. Whether you are here to present your business idea or to network and listen to a presenting entrepreneur, there are no sharks in this program. So our culture here is not a sales pitch. It's not for Brian and Rihanna to come up here and talk about their tax and accounting or their HR solutions. It's for them to talk about their journey and their struggle, what inspired them to become entrepreneurs here in Colorado Springs, and what have they overcome to do it? What have you needed to overcome as entrepreneurs that you can learn from them? So the culture here is one of our most important pieces. So keep in mind those 6 words this year. Safe and supportive, inclusive and diverse, respectful and considerate. Thank you very much.
Well said. See why we wanted him as one of our organizers? That was awesome. And one piece that kind of came to mind, Bob, correct me if I'm wrong, 1MCups across the United States is every Wednesday at 9 o'clock. All the groups are the same. So the idea is that at one time across the United States, don't take into account time zone differences, that there are 1 million people sitting down to a free cup of coffee listening to an entrepreneurial story so that they can further support their local communities. So if you can memorize that, that'd be great. But Vernon, our media sponsor, let's give him a hand. He posts these to YouTube, and then we will eventually get them all onto Facebook. So if you've missed a presentation or you'd like to review that again, or maybe watch it so you can give some referrals to that person, that's a big way to help our local community, is to refer to one another and help bridge the gap of what they don't know, right? So that can be done there. So next, one of our organizers, let's see, I've got a list. Joe has a couple of missions that he wants to share. So as our organizers come in, I'll talk a little bit about how we recruit other organizers and what the dynamic of that is. But this is your group. This is 1MCups. This is your group. This is our group. So it really, whatever we do is based on what we want to do. So as organizers come in and they have a drive and a mission to do something and they're supported by the other organizers, then that comes into fruition because of that. So Joe has a couple things that he wants to continue to do, so he's going to share with us a little bit on that.
Morning, everybody. So, as I did my reflection and got ready for this new year, new decade, one of my other jobs is I'm a Colorado Springs Chamber of Commerce ambassador. And what I've seen around is our community has a lot of stovepipes. And just as an example, on a Chamber of Commerce level, we have the Colorado Springs Chamber of Commerce, we have a Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, we have a Women's Chamber of Commerce, we have a Black Chamber of Commerce, we have the Tri-Lakes Chamber of Commerce, we have the Fountain Chamber of Commerce, and there's lots of them, right? I'm sure I could come up with another if I sat here. That also happens in our nonprofit community. You know, there's dozens of nonprofits in our community that all focus on the same group of homeless veterans, as an example. And one of the things that I think 1MCups does is it effectively dissolves some of those stovepipes so we can start talking and working together instead of competing a little bit. So what I would like to propose is a challenge to you guys. One of our other goals is getting more people in the room, but many of you are members or participants in many of those organizations. And when you meet an entrepreneur who's out there doing the important work, let them know about 1MCups. Bring them here so that we can start to dissolve some of those boundaries that we artificially put up amongst ourselves and start supporting each other. And it's a great way to build your business. It's a great way to build all of our businesses together and improve each other. And we can really launch into this new year, new decade as a team instead of a whole bunch of competing stovepipes who don't understand or know what else is going on around our community. And we can all magnify our opportunity that way. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
All right, so I look forward to getting more people in here and hearing you guys getting them here. All right.
So stay there, Joe, because just some basic questions too that maybe you guys are thinking of too. If you have any questions that you don't think we're going to get to, pop your hand up. So Joe, as an organizer, are you the only one that can invite other people to be here in the crowd today?
Absolutely not.
So, and this is our group, this is your group. So we might spend, I think on average, the organizers spend about 2.5 hours a week between coming here to this meeting, committing to being here for an hour. We meet at 8:15 in the morning to discuss the presenters, to discuss any challenges or new ideas that we have, and then we come into the room and then we do this, and then we spend about 30 minutes, maybe up to an hour. We get assigned people that have applied to present. So we talk about that, we call them, we email them, we make sure that they're a good fit, that they can present, and then we pick a date, that sort of thing. So what you've done on your own, you go to all those chamber meetings, and you do a lot of inviting to help people understand that they don't have to just stay in this one place, that there's enough for everyone, and that's what we're doing here. And hopefully that culture will lead over into all the chambers.
I hope so.
So, yeah, Joe does that. Everybody knows Joe when they go to a chamber meeting, because he's at all of them. So, yeah, I think that was my only question that I had.
Thanks, Ed.
Thanks, Joe. Oh, I'm sorry. Jeff had a question. Gee, what
I did have a question. So if I were an attendee instead of an organizer, and I met somebody who may want to present at 1 Million Cups and likes the idea of sharing their story as an entrepreneur, what would the steps be, A, for them to apply, and B, the requirements to attend meetings beforehand?
Well, it would be really easy because that individual would have already signed up to present, and they would know that just by going to our website, clicking the present button and signing in for an application, that starts the process. So it'd be very easy for them to walk them through. Is everybody presented?
And I think your point of that too, Jeff, was that when, man, I need some extra coffee. That if someone's at your table and they're like, hey, how do you present? If you're not an organizer, you could probably answer that question. If you've been here enough, you are empowered to do that. I don't know if you know, but Taco Bell employees are empowered to make it right. So if someone comes and says, I hate my meal, they have the ability to refund their money and maybe give them a gift card or something like that. So envision yourself like that. I'm not a huge fan of Taco Bell, but good practices like that I'm a huge fan of. So if you're not officially an organizer, you can still do those things. And if you're an alumni, are there any alumni 1 Million Cups organizers in the room? You can raise your hand or stand up. Not today, that's odd, because usually there's 3 to 5. Yeah, James was
He's on
here.
a phone call outside.
Okay, good excuse. So that's part of what I'll get to, but yeah, you can hold on to that or put it back here, Joe. Oh, or did you, no, not yet. Did you have another piece of an answer to Jeff's question? So let me just ask the audience, who knows who is qualified to present? What presenters are we looking for? I really do want someone that's not an organizer to answer that question, because I know that someone's got to know. And if not, then that's why we're doing this today. But your son is presenting, so this is, you should know.
To have a story, to share the grit and the grime of building your business and where it's led you, where you've come from, so we too can have our aha moments and going, oh, that was real tough for him. And when we share our vulnerability in building our businesses and our journeys, it's amazing how it empowers other people.
Do you know how long in business would you have been?
I would say 3 to 5 years, but I don't know that, so that's a guess.
Okay, anybody else want to guess? Thank you. Yes, for the first 1 to 5 years. Sometimes people are in their first year, so that, 1 to 5. So that's where I'm going to share a little bit with everyone today. So when every year the Kaufman Foundation does a conference, and they fly out one of the organizers from the 1 Million Cups across the entire United States. So they all get to ask lots of questions and do lots of things. So we've come to find out that over the last few years, we are the largest 1 Million Cups in the entire United States. And the first year, everyone's like, oh, how'd you guys do that? And we're like, I don't know, we just eat stuff. But as we started asking ourselves that question, the answer is because we follow the rules that the Kaufman Foundation has put forth for 1 Million Cups. So a lot of other 1 Million Cups groups, specifically in Denver, the average group is 20 people. So, of course, we are almost always over 100. We grew that from 70 last year on average to over 100, and our goal by the end of the year is to have 150 regular attendees. If you're coming once a month or so, you're a regular attendee. If you come once a week, you're hardcore, and you should probably apply to be one of the organizers. As an organizer, we, and actually, again, this is your group. So part of what I was going to share with you today, too, is that as 1 Million Cups organizers, they're asked to commit to 1 year. So 1 million cups is never associated with a particular person. So if someone says, oh, that's Samantha's group or Rihanna's group, then they're a little bit wrong. It is our group, but as organizers, this group should not be associated with one person. So that's why we're asked to rotate off after a year. What I personally found, using coffee as an excuse, that after a year, I was like, wow, I feel like I just started and I just really got the hang of it. So we talked about it. Because we're so big, we decided that as organizers we could commit to 1 or 2 years. So I did commit to 2 years, so my last day will be the end of July. So my job as an organizer before I roll off is to find someone to replace me in different capacities. So as organizers right now, there are 6 of us. As alumni, we're going to have a group of that, so we'll talk about that a little bit later if we have time. But my job is to help find someone to replace me. So again, this group, it does whatever it wants. So they found me thinking, oh, she can do a little bit more with the social media and this and that. And I was doing about 3 or 4 hours a week just on social media. And so I said, no, I can't do that anymore. So I found other things that I was good at that kept me in that smaller amount. So if you have a gift and you want to give that back to this 1 Million Cups community, keep that in mind and make that offering. And we're always looking for certain things. So what Rihanna asked me to share specifically today are some of the things that we work together. So I had a lot of things in my mind, but I couldn't get them out. And Rihanna, being in the line of work that she does, she's like, oh, well, you just do this and this. And then, so we just sat together and she put it all on paper. And so this keeps my brain straight. So as an organizer, every week I've got a laminated piece. I write on it, I wipe it off. And it just so happens that, hey, this works for other people too. So they can use this, or if they can keep it in their brain, they go for it. And then if you guys see on the tables here, I personally don't know how to whistle like that. And I don't like to do that, but they do. Yeah, there you go. We got a cowbell. We have different options to make sure everybody knows we start right at 9 o'clock. But on one side of this is the schedule. So you can see what time we open, what time we start, how that first presenter time looks like. So again, if you've never presented and you're nervous about it, then by watching one, by looking at the schedule, you have some tools that give you more comfort in that, right? So I bet you I'm missing some stuff in that realm, Rihanna, and you're not on the list to speak today. So would you like to share a few things? Yeah, she's like, give me that.
During 2019, we put forth a huge effort to get a little bit more organized. We've done a really great job in getting you all here and creating a wonderful environment during the 1 Million Cups meetings. However, on the back end, we didn't have a whole lot of structure, and that's one thing that the Kaufman Foundation didn't really provide was structure and guidance. So what we did in 2019 was devise a way so we could transfer from organizer to organizer. It doesn't matter who is around, you guys will get a seamless experience. So on the back end, we created like an organizer Facebook group so we can be more communicative, also hold a repository of all of the documents and everything that you see here to gain access to. We also created an organizer onboarding program. Agendas, schedules. We put a lot of effort in 2019 to get super organized. So in 2020, you have an even better experience because no matter who's running 1 Million Cups, you'll get kind of that McDonald's type of experience. You will have a seamless, symmetrical experience here, and this is all in the effort. You guys may not see all of the hard work, with the exception of maybe the table placards or Samantha's little note sheet here, but there's a lot of work on the back end to make sure you guys have a great experience.
Yes, thank you. So yes, and it always depends on who comes in as the group. So if you're real laid back and you come in and you're like, yeah, I'll do this and this, then that usually works. But then you have some people that are very structured and very organized, and they need that flow to be sure that they at least know everything and they can jump in where they want. So no matter which way your brain works, if you come in as an organizer, it's a lot easier to follow that And then I now have tools that before I roll off, the person that I've coached into coming into the group, they have to be voted on the island to stay through all the organizers, but that really helps with that. So we do still have time for questions because this wasn't really a presentation today. And then, oh, Josh still has something to share, and I should be looking at my notes again. See what it is Josh was going to share. Okay, what we're looking forward to and some other ideas. So yeah, take it away, Josh.
I forgot organizer.
You were hiding.
Well, good morning, everybody. How many of you are looking to make 2020 your worst year ever? Got one. Well, you did just quit your job, so.
I did quit my job.
No.
No, it's okay to clap. It was
Right, none of us are looking to make 2020 our worst year. We're all looking for 2020 to be our best year ever, and that's true for your businesses, it's true for my business, but it's also true for 1 Million Cups. So we have some great plans. The best thing about 2020, I think, for 1 Million Cups is just the team of people that we have. So I'm the lead organizer, but I am the worst of all the organizers because everyone else is Rihanna and Jeff and all the organizers that we have, Sam, everybody, they're just doing a great job. Joe, like they are the heart and soul of what makes this meeting work every week. And so I just want to give them just a round of applause, thankful for them, Bob, everybody. They are the brains and the brawn behind this whole thing, so very grateful for them. For 2020, what we're looking to do is see this 1 Million Cups actually get better. And maybe that means growing, to 200 or 300 people over the next 5 years, we don't know. But what we want to see is 1 Million Cups become the tightest, most close-knit, most supportive, most synergistic community that it can be. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
That sounds really good to me, right? Where everyone in this room knows each other and are spending time together and are helping each other's businesses grow. Because that's the point, right? It's to inspire one another. It's to have this group this week be the thing that propels us every single week into doing what we've been designed and made to do. So that's kind of the vision and the hope that we have for next year. We're going to be doing a couple of cool things. We're going to do quarterly panels this year. So once a quarter, we'll have some kind of neat panel, whether it's a social impact or if it's a small business accelerator thing, or if it's a, hey, let's get a bunch of X, Y, and Z businesses together so they can share about their stories. We're going to do a lot of things like that. The other thing is we do want to hit an attendance goal, so it's always good to have stretch goals. We'd like to have 150 people on average here every week, kind of by the end of the year. So that's going to take not just the organizers inviting, but that's going to take every single one of you guys helping to spread the good word, the good news about 1 Million Cups. So if you can be an evangelist for 1 Million Cups, we would all appreciate that very much. One kind of challenge that we're going to face, and it just needs to be said, is parking is going to be terrible. Everybody ready for terrible parking? Because we already had it, okay? Don't let that discourage you from coming. I know it's easy to say, oh, it's going to be hard to park. I got to walk, 3 or 4 blocks. We get it. We know it's going to be bad. If you don't want to walk, get here early. That'll be a way to fix that. But we really are going to have to just weather the storm when it comes to parking. So that's just that's one big challenge that we're going to have to kind of roll with. I think I'm out of time as far as it goes. We have another presenter today, and we want to be able to have her have enough time to share about her business. But are there any questions or anything that we can address really quickly? Yes, sir.
Any plans to make a 1 Million Cups tour?
I do not believe we would do that actually at this point. Bob asked about 1 Million Cups North, so having another group. Has that ever been in a city, having 2 meetings?
We can absolutely do it, but that's set by the Kaufman Foundation, has to be applied. They would rather have larger groups than multiple groups. Again, there's power in numbers, right? There's power in numbers. So, yes, it's maybe an inconvenience to come from the north side. One of the things we'll be looking at this year is, we may have to move, right? We may have to. We've as a coordinator, has decided to keep it in the downtown corridor because that's kind of the center of entrepreneurship in this city, or where it is, but that's not locking us into it. So there are some cities that do have multiple 1 Million Cups, but it has to be blessed by the Kaufman Foundation.
Thank you, Bob.
I have heard people on multiple occasions call 1 Million Cups the pep rally. So if you have some other adjectives, please share those with us, because when someone says pep rally, I see a lot of heads shake. So a lot of people come and get energized and then they're ready to go for the day. That's why a morning meeting is so powerful. Then you still have the rest of the day to get some business done and do some other stuff.
Any last questions before we move on? Or any suggestions or ideas or anything that we want to throw out there? Yes, Jeffrey?
What can we as a Colorado Springs
The reason that we have him on the team right there. Thank you so much. I mean, I think I said earlier, you know, this is a group that is powered by you guys. If there's not people coming, if there's not the energy and excitement for this group, then it's not going to exist. And so as much enthusiasm as you can have for this, as much input as you can give to one another and to this group, that's going to make all the difference in the world. So thanks, Jeff. Appreciate
We
it.
also need your suggestions and feedback. We want to know what it is from you that is important to you to make this a great experience. So we can sit here as a group and come up with all kinds of great ideas. But if it doesn't apply to you or if it's not important to you, then it shouldn't be important to us. So speak up and seek out us as organizers and let us help you make this your group.
Bob.
Yes, Bob.
So again, I'll add to this. I am a big relationship person. We do, especially in today's society, we're about building relationships, and that's how we make sales. You want to build sales, move from transaction to relationships. So build relationships. That's our point here. It's about relationships. That's what I love about this organization versus some other networking groups, not good or bad. It's not about selling your business. It's how do I get to know this gentleman so that if somebody asks me, I can refer him, or if that kind of thing. Or maybe just how do we sit down and have a cup of coffee and talk about our business. So that's my goal of what you can do for us as 1MCups. Is this city is going to be built on better relationships. Amen. That's what's going to take this city to the next level. And folks, the ecosystem of the entrepreneur world in this city, whether you know it or not, is changing. Behind the scenes, there's a lot of stuff that's happening that's going to impact us as entrepreneurs. So we'll be talking about that as we move forward, but relationships are the basis. That's what you can do for us.
Awesome.